The Genius Club with Prairie Pine. Chapter 35. Morning Meeting. Although this dream verification mission had failed, it had unexpectedly opened up a new path. This was definitely not a loss. Alex felt that from this moment on, he had transformed from a drifting leaf to a butterfly flapping its wings. A single flap of his wings in the present, 2022, could stir up a world-changing tornado 600 years later. He never imagined that he would hold such power. The power to cross time and rewrite the future. Can I review it? Alex looked at his empty right hand and clenched his fist. I'll just have to try and see. After closing the window, the temperature in the room gradually warmed up. Alex yawned and drowsiness surged back. I'll sleep first and think about it tomorrow. Tomorrow's Monday, and I still have a morning meeting to attend. Alex turned off the light and slipped back under the covers. He slept soundly all night, without a single dream. The next morning, the senior conference room on the 10th floor of MX Company was filled with more than 20 middle and senior managers. At MX Company, a regular morning meeting was held every Monday morning as stipulated by Emma. Emma had required that all team leaders and senior executives must attend the morning meeting to report on the previous week's work and discuss plans for the new week. Once, Alex had only been an ordinary employee and would never have been qualified to attend such a high-level meeting. But now, things were different. As the leader of the Rhinecat IP development team, he was at the same level as the heads of formal departments and directly under Emma's management, so naturally, he had to attend this morning meeting. At the end of the long conference table sat Emma. 3 vice presidents were seated on either side, followed by the heads of various departments and team leaders. As the youngest and most junior team leader, Alex was naturally seated at the last position. Bang! Mark, team leader of the marketing department, slammed his fist on the table and stood up. I disagree. Director Emma, we've almost bet everything on Ethan Hughes for the launch event of our new Rhine brand. How can we just give up like this? Right now, cosmetic companies around the world are competing for Ethan Hughes' authorization. Since no one has secured it yet, we still have a chance. Why give up so early? Mark's words silenced the entire conference room. Everyone glanced nervously at Emma, who had just announced the news. Alex twirled his pen between his fingers, resting his chin in his hand, and said nothing. He knew the reason behind Emma's decision, but he chose to keep quiet for the time being. Just after all the team leaders had reported on their work for the previous week, Emma had announced an important decision. The first product of the Rhine brand would abandon the previously planned Ethan Hughes moisturizing cream project and switch to developing a new product line. This announcement caused an uproar. Everyone was shocked. Even the 3 senior vice presidents exchanged glances, looking incredulous. The Ethan Hughes moisturizing cream project had been the focus of the entire company's efforts over the past few months. The plan was to persuade Ethan Hughes to grant authorization for that magical chemical substance, then use it to create a groundbreaking moisturizing cream. This product was supposed to be the flagship launch of the Rhine brand, revolutionizing the entire cosmetic market. Everyone had been working towards this goal for months, and much of the preliminary work had been based on this plan. Everyone firmly believed that once they obtained Ethan Hughes' authorization, this new moisturizing cream would definitely sell well globally. Monopolizing the moisturizing market would only be a matter of time, so Emma's casual decision to give up without providing any specific reason was simply unacceptable to everyone. However, MX Company was a sole proprietorship founded by Emma, She had the right to make decisions alone. Everyone dared to be angry but not speak out, except for Mark. He had always been straightforward, and was also a founding veteran of MX Company, so he dared to stand up and oppose her openly. Without that magical chemical substance invented by Ethan Hughes, how can our Rhine brand compete with others? Just rely on that cute Rhine cat. Then we might as well switch to being a toy company directly. Mark slammed the table again, his voice filled with indignation. But it was clear that he was acting in the company's best interests and had no malicious intent. Everyone nodded slightly, agreeing with his words, and the three vice presidents also smiled and echoed his sentiment. Director Emma, why don't we reconsider? If Ethan Hughes thinks the money is too little, we can increase our offer. We'll definitely make it back. Yes, as long as we get Ethan Hughes' authorization, we'll monopolize the global moisturizing skincare market. Such huge profits are worth fighting for. For a moment, Emma was the target of everyone's criticism. Everyone was against her, except for Alex. At this moment, Alex hung his head and stared at his notebook, lost in thought. Only he and Emma knew the reason for giving up on Ethan Hughes. The professor had clearly stated that he would never sell the rights to that chemical substance. However, hearing Ethan Hughes' name again gave Alex a new idea for his plan to rewrite the future. Alex twirled his pen, recalling the slightly unkempt but extremely meticulous and earnest man. Ethan Hughes' parents had both passed away. His wife had died of amniotic fluid embolism, and his only daughter, Gloria Hughes, had fallen into a vegetative state and was lying in the hospital, waiting helplessly for death. To send Gloria Hughes into hibernation to seek treatment in the future, Ethan Hughes had devoted himself to hibernation chamber research alone. Even though he had been abandoned by everyone and become a laughingstock among scholars, he had never given up. Over the years, only Derek had silently funded Ethan Hughes' research. Maybe I can help Ethan Hughes. Alex narrowed his eyes. He might be the only person in the world who could help the professor. Perhaps the hibernation chamber hadn't been successfully developed in the future world 600 years later. But hadn't there been breakthroughs in some basic theories? If he could help Ethan Hughes achieve something significant, making him the first person in history to research hibernation, it would advance hibernation technology by hundreds of years. That way, not only would there be a chance for Gloria Hughes to wake up, but the technological level in the dream world would also undergo a qualitative leap, changing the world entirely. This would also confirm his two previous inferences. The first inference was that the dream world was indeed the real future world, 600 years later. And the second was that the time-space butterfly effect existed. He could rewrite the future 600 years later by changing the present. It was a win-win-win situation. Bang! Emma slammed her folder on the table, and the entire room fell silent. There's no need for further discussion on this matter, she said, standing up with a firm expression. If the Rhine brand can only rely on one moisturizing cream, then it's not worth building. What we aim to build in the future is a comprehensive beauty brand, not just a single moisturizing product. Ethan Hughes could help us once, but can he help us a second time? Pine. As the saying goes, to forge iron, one must be strong. I hope my colleagues in the R&D department will work hard and develop our own core competitiveness. All right, the meeting is adjourned. Emma turned around neatly and walked toward the conference room door in her high heels, the sound of click, click, click echoing behind her. When she reached the door, she suddenly stopped. Everyone held their breath again, No one could miss how angry Emma was, and they wondered who would be the unlucky scapegoat next. Emma turned her head and looked at the farthest seat in the conference room. "Alex, come to my office,"